Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these finger swirl topped earrings. That's what I'm going to call it, finger swirl topped earrings. It kind of matches the finger swirl bail, a little bit different, and it's smaller so it suits earrings better. And this can be used on top drills. This is the backs of these beads, top drilled beads that are going to front and back. And I've done them in different shapes. So this has got a pointed top. These earrings have a completely flat top. And then in today's video, I am using these beads that have a rounded top. So I'm just doing this to show you that it is versatile to different types of tops. And so what you're going to need for supplies are 2 accent 4mm bicone beads to go with your earring focal beads for your earrings, and you're going to need some 20 gauge wire, which is 0.81 millimeters for those metric, and we're going to want 2 10-inch pieces. So measure out your 10-inch pieces, which is 25 centimeters. So you're going to need that. That's it for the supplies. But for tools, then you're going to need your ruler, and I recommend you having one with inches and centimeters, but we're mainly working with centimeters, millimeters today, so you need a ruler with that. Your flush cutters, your chain nose pliers, and your round nose pliers, and that's it for today's supplies. So it's actually a great project for a beginner. It's a little bit challenging with the finger swirl because we're doing really tight small finger swirls. So you might want to try some of my other tutorials that have finger swirling in it just to practice your technique. And don't be hard on yourself if you can't get it right the first time around, because I mean, they're fairly quick to do. It doesn't take much supplies. I mean, it's 10 inches of copper. If you're going to be using sterling silver or even your silver plated wire, I'd still recommend practicing with copper first, because you could do this with sterling silver, and you could do it with enameled silver plated wire as well. So I forgot supplies, your wires. So it could be, whichever. You could make it into studs, whichever you chose. Okay, so let's start. But I'm just going to have my, do I want the beads in there? It might make it go blurry. I will not. Okay, so you're going to take your 2 wires, and you're going to find the approximate center of each. And, one's going to end up shorter than the other, but you can't predict which one it is, so you really have to start at the center. So you're finding the center, and then you're going to make a loop that comfortably fits this distance. So you might have to experiment a little bit to make it fit your earring. I'm going about middle size on my round nose pliers. You could try that middle, and then if that is too small, then you just adjust to make it bigger. So I would do that first, stop, pause, and so I'm going middle. Then I'm making a loop like this, so kind of like a teardrop shape, like that. It's not too big, but big enough for the bead to get into. So this is what I'm going to get you to try first, and chances are this will fit. So do that, pause and do that, and then you know where to work. Just do one of them though, because there's going to be a difference between the two. So, okay, so I'm guessing that you have already gotten the size for your bead. Now, yeah, next step is, okay, so this one has the top wire. See how there's one on the bottom, one at the top. The top wire is going to the left. The next one, we want the top wire to go to the right, and that will help us reverse our earrings, because that little step changes everything. So I want the top, I'm going to find the center, and the top wire needs to go to the left. So I have to make this one on the, or goes to the right rather. This one goes to the left. That one goes to the left. This one's going to the right. So I'm going to make this one, pick it up, make it go over top, and then do the teardrop shape. And then we want both of them to be similar in shape and size. And so this one I'm going to pull a little bit tighter. And now I have to, because we're sliding the bead on, I am opening it up this way, like you do a jump ring. You need it wide enough to slide your focal bead onto. And this one, these beads are a little bit thicker, so actually this is a good example. It's a little bit too tight. I am just going to push that open a little bit more, see if that helps. No, I'm taking it off and I'm making it a bigger circle. Okay, so that's simple enough to do. I'm just pushing it further up my round nose pliers like that. So that's good that I could show you what you need to do. And then I'm going to do the same for the other one. Just going to stretch this over. See how it just slid down and it made it bigger instantly? And we want them to be similar. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm making this one just a tiny bit smaller. Okay, now I'm going to open it up. You need it fairly wide. Slide the bead on. Much better. Okay. Not that it's going to have movement, because it does have some, but it's not huge. So that really isn't a huge factor. The dangle is going to be from the top ring. So that's not really, we kind of want it to have a little bit of movement, but okay, so now I'm going to put the other bead on the other one. Okay, that one got bigger. Let's see how that works. Closed it up. Okay, that one's a little bit tighter than that one. So I am just going to do a tiny adjustment that way. Much better. Okay. Okay. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do the twist on top. And because some beads are more fragile than others, we are going to take our chain nose pliers and support the teardrop like this, because we don't want to put pressure on the bead, because if you have a fragile stone bead or glass bead, you can shatter it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and see, I'm hitting the phone, sorry. You have to twist. The twist will be different on both of them because of the way we had the wires positioned. So I just want it like that, so that this wire is on top. Then we're going to straighten out this wire. And I know it looks like it doesn't have much, and it doesn't. But what we're doing to support it, because we don't want this to be too big of an area, is we're going to wrap this wire straight. And I'm hitting, the wire's hitting the phone. Okay, so kind of going just wrapped around, kind of over top of the wire itself there. And that's all we need to do. Now I want to take this wire and bend it in the same direction as the other wire. And we're going to make, it should be flush with the bead going the right direction. It kind of moved on me. And we're going to make the earring loop as tight as or close as possible to your wrap job there. So making the loop, going around in the front. Okay, so it's going like this. And we're going to wrap it around once and cross over the loop, the wrap of this one, and so that we come underneath the other wire. And that's going to lock everything into place without being too big. Okay? So it looks like that. That's the wire we just wrapped. So it crossed over at the back. So that's, it's all secure. The loop isn't quite level with the beads, so we're just going to quickly fix that. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing with the other earring. Okay, so I'm going to support the teardrop. Give it a twist, just one twist, that's all we're doing. The wire that's on top, we're going to leave pointing that way. The other wire, we're going to pull up straight. We're going to wrap this wire once around, kind of over top of itself. And we're going to bend this wire the same direction as the other wire. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay, I had to do an adjustment. I didn't go far enough because you really have to make it so it's level with the bead. Okay, now we're going to make our loop as close as possible. Okay, so that's there. And now I'm going to wrap it around and cross over the other wrap so it comes out at the bottom of the other wire, like so. And I'm just going to pull those straight and make sure that loop is laying level. So it's the same angle as the bead. Okay. Now we are going to do, we're going to just push these two wires up a little bit higher. And we'll do that with this one too, where we just push them up a little bit higher. So it's kind of like over top of that wrap. And this is going to dictate how we make the finger swirl. Okay, so we want it going up a little bit. We might have to adjust our loop again because it can distort it. And we want a tight loop. So we want a tiny loop. So do your best. We're doing it with our fingers. You might want to watch me before doing it. Okay, so I'm not making it too big. So I've got it like that, and now I want to go so it's pointing this way. Okay, so now you're going to take your other one and do the same thing and try and get them the same size. But the loop is going to go down. Remember, we went down and around, so this is going down. That's why we started a little bit up. So down and around, and we want the loops to be similar in size. And yes, we're doing pretty good, so that might take practice. And then we want it to go straight. And at this point, fix your loops if they went crooked. This one kind of did, so I'm going to do that right now. Check that one. That one's pretty good. This one went a little higher, but I mean, they're handmade. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah, I really don't think there is anything you can do to change that. I'm just changing the shape a little bit. I use my round nose pliers to do that. And that might make it look better. There we go. I'm going to just push that down a little bit. Did that work? No, it bent it. So sometimes doing an adjustment, I was too harsh on it. Okay, I think I've got it. It changed the inner circle of the wrap. Trying to match them up a little bit better. Okay, so they are different, but that's okay. They're still similar enough. I was better before. I should have left well enough alone. Okay, so the next step is to take these two wires and wrap around the back. Now this is really wide and it kind of feels awkward as you're doing it. Do your best to support your swirl, and you're just gonna wrap around as straight as possible and have the wires come back to the same position. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you as I go around because it is kind of wide, and back to the front and straight that way again. Okay, so now we're going to do the same with the other one. Moved on me again. Okay, I think I'm ready. So there, flip it over, wrap it around. This is hard on the fingers, by the way. It digs into the fingers. Okay, so how does that look? They look okay. This needs to go up a little bit. Yes. Okay, so the next thing is the bottom wire we're going to pull down. Now, you can choose, see how I've got one's bigger than the other? Because this is a wider bead and this is a narrower bead, so I made it smaller. Now you could choose to make it larger with a smaller drop like this, or to make it smaller. But what you do with one, you have to repeat with the other. So sometimes you just go with the flow. So we're going to put a bead on there. You want the bead to be at an angle, because we don't want it centered. It's going to be at an angle. We want the loop to be the center. So you've got the bead all the way up there. You're going to support the bead, hold it in place, and make a gentle curving loop around it. So gently. You don't want it angled. You don't want to kink it. So you're just using pressure on this wire, kind of pulling it around and making it in a shape like that. And we want to go straight again. And now this wire is underneath that wire. See what I mean by underneath? And now we're going to, it's going to have a gentle, it's going to be bigger because it's got the bead in between. So it's going to have a space like that. And then we're going to meet up with the other wire, and we want to pull alongside it. But you want to do it gently. Gently follow the path so it comes up beside it, so they're together again, like that. Now we're going to try and do the same thing on the other one and try and do it the same size. That's the challenge. So the bottom wire, I'm going to pull down. And remember, we don't want it straight down, we want an angle. We want the bead to be at an angle. So the same angle. Put your bead on, put it up there. Support the bead and start doing your loop around. I'm just, nope. It's moving on me. Okay, so is that similar? So what I'm looking at is the space underneath the bead here. I think I got it a little bit too small, so I'm going to back off a little bit and put more pressure going this way, downward, to make it similar in shape. And I'm going to push it back again. There, I think I've matched it up. So you have to play around sometimes to get them similar. And now I've got the second wire going underneath, making the space for the bead. So I want to try something new with the pieces I create. I want to put links in the description of where they'll be for sale. Now, because it's so close to Christmas, and we're headed out of town tomorrow, I don't know if I'll have time to have it set up for sale, but if you look after Christmas, I might have it up for sale if you're interested. I will have all 3 of these pairs of earrings up for sale. I'm only offering to Canada and the United States for mailing consistency. The price will be in US dollars. I was going to put the shipping included, so I'm going to quote you a price right now until they're sold. These are unique, one of a kind, so I can't make really duplicates, but I could. I did make some extra of these, so I'll have pictures and links. If something sells and I've got more, I'll add more links. So you can always check the links. If I've removed the links, that means that they've sold. So, or I'll just write sold beside the link when it sells. Okay, so there, I think I'm ready. Okay, so the next step is, another way you could support me is the thanks button, where you can give me buy me a coffee or whatever, the amount that you want to send me a thank you. So what I want to do is see where the wire crosses the other wire. I want to measure 1 centimeter. So that's why I wanted you to have metric on your ruler. So we're going to cut off to 1 centimeter like that. And we're going to do the same with the other one. It's where the wire crosses. You're measuring from that point. And being that I'm right-handed, this is difficult for me, so I'm going to cut it a little bit longer. I'm going to do a dual cut. You've probably seen me do this in other videos. And then I can remeasure and eyeball the difference and snip it. So, oh wow, I really went too big. Okay, so about there. And I'm going to measure again. Just to make sure. It's still about 1 millimeter too long, so just another. It's better to do too long than too short. There we go. Okay, so the next thing is you can either take your round nose pliers or your chain nose pliers to make loops. I like my chain nose pliers for myself, but for beginners, I recommend, I'm going to demonstrate with the round nose pliers. The very tip, hopefully you have round nose pliers with tiny tips. And, well, chain nose pliers the same. Make the top wire have a loop going up to the top and make the wire touch itself. And then I'm flipping it over to do the same thing with the bottom wire. Just so I'm able to do that. Okay, and the wire's touching itself. Okay, and then the next step is to push those wires down because it kind of gives it strength and makes it so that they don't lift up and catch anything. It gives it phenomenal strength, like you wouldn't believe when you do that little step. So, and that one's done. What do you think? I think it looks pretty cool. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for this one. So I'm going to hopefully you can't hear my husband's computer. He's listening to sports on his computer in the back room. I can hear it. Hopefully you can't. Okay. And I'm told that this takes practice. Some people have difficulties with it. Other people don't have difficulties with it. So, I mean, if you need practice doing that, by all means, practice. So now I'm pushing these down as well. Oh, I'm going to go upside down, being a little bit difficult. Okay. There. And how do they look? Do they match pretty good? Okay, this one's sitting a little bit off, so I'm going to do a minor adjustment. And then you got to check your loops for the last time. The best way to check the loops really is to put it on your ear wires, and if they hang straight, then you got it. Okay, so I'm going to put the ear wires on. And it needs just a tiny tweak. There, that one's good. Oh, and that one doesn't need any tweaking. It's sitting perfect. Okay, and they are done. Thank you for joining me in this video. Merry Christmas and God bless. And if you're traveling, stay safe on those roads, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.